Veronica had always dominated every room she entered, leaving everyone else in her shadow. That includes me. I had tried to stay under the radar, work hard, and ignore the endless whispers behind my back, but nothing worked. She had the perfect life, perfect looks, perfect friends, and an uncanny ability to make me feel invisible. Until the day everything changed. It was an ordinary afternoon at the mall when a tiny shop tucked between two clothing stores caught my attention. Its display glittered unnaturally, a single tube of lipstick shimmering under the lights. A small note beside it read, "Wear this and see yourself differently." I was drawn toward it with a mix of curiosity and something darker, a desire to take control, to finally level the playing field with Veronica. The moment my fingers touched the tube, it felt unusually warm, almost alive. Swiping it across my lips unleashed a wave of dizziness, as if the room itself had shifted around me. Every reflection warped for an instant, then sharpened into something I couldn't have imagined. My jaw softened, my cheekbones lifted, and my eyes widened, not subtly but entirely. Hair lengthened and shined like flowing silk, lips plumped to perfection, skin smoothed in an impossible glow. I recoiled, fumbling toward the mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't just me, it was Veronica. Every angle, every curve, every expression perfectly matched hers. My pulse raced. The lipstick hadn't just changed my appearance, it had stolen her image, mapped it onto me entirely. The sensation was intoxicating. Power surged through me as I experimented with expressions in the mirror, mimicking her famous smirk, her confident tilt of the head. People had always overlooked me, and now, for the first time, I had the spotlight. But beneath that rush was a gnawing fear. How permanent was this? The world outside my room didn't know the truth yet, but one wrong glance, one unexpected message, could unravel everything. Then, my phone vibrated. A text from Veronica herself appeared. "You look familiar. Are you joking?" My heart stopped. The realization hit like a hammer. I wasn't just playing a prank anymore. Every reflection, every photo, every public appearance risked exposing the truth. The apartment felt smaller, suffocating even, as if the walls themselves were aware of the secret I now carried. I sank onto the bed, fingers tracing the lipstick still on the counter. The allure of being Veronica was undeniable, intoxicating, but it wasn't mine. Not yet. The power, the attention, the envy I'd always craved now teetered dangerously close to obsession. A strange thrill threaded through the fear. People outside would notice. My voice, my presence, my gestures. Everyone would react as if I were Veronica. Every hallway glance, every encounter would test my control. And control was fragile. One mistake could undo everything. The note beside the lipstick returned to my thoughts. See yourself differently. I had done more than that. I had become someone else entirely. And somewhere deep inside, I knew that Veronica wouldn't let this go unnoticed. The confrontation, when it came, would be explosive. That night, staring into the mirror, I realized a truth I couldn't escape. This was only the beginning. The magic had chosen its path, and I was trapped in the persona of the person who had tormented me for years. There was no turning back, at least, not without facing consequences I couldn't yet imagine. The first morning after the transformation, the world seemed sharper, brighter, and impossibly observant. Every sound, my own footsteps, the hum of traffic outside, the clicking of my heels on the bathroom tiles, felt magnified. The mirror in my bedroom had become a stage, and I was performing without a script, guided by instincts that weren't entirely my own. I ran my fingers through the long, glossy hair, brushing strands from my face, and the reflection mirrored Veronica's confident poise. My pulse raced, not entirely from fear. Power flowed through me, the power of attention, the power to command a room simply by existing. Strangers in the hallway glanced twice, neighbors' conversations stopped mid-sentence when I passed. The recognition, even unspoken, was addictive. School was another world entirely. Walking into the hallways, every familiar face paused, looked, whispered. They didn't know it was me beneath the perfection. But some part of me, Alex the real me, still screamed with panic. What if someone noticed a slip? A gesture too familiar, a laugh too low, a hesitation too long? Veronica's voice haunted me, not as her words, but as echoes embedded into the reflection I now carried. Every glance in the mirror reminded me of her perfection, the way she tilted her head, the playful smirk, the subtle confidence that I had once envied. And every glance reminded me of the stakes. Being her, even temporarily, meant navigating her world, her enemies, her life, and hoping no one realized the switch. Then came the first close call. During math class, I caught a glimpse of Ms. Clark, my teacher, watching with a scrutinizing gaze. She had taught Veronica before, knew every twitch of her expressions, every habitual gesture. My hands tightened around the pencil as I tried to mimic Veronica's usual posture perfectly, every movement precise, rehearsed. One mistake, one misstep, and the illusion would crumble. The day stretched into an intricate performance. Lunch in the cafeteria was a battlefield. Friends of Veronica approached, laughing, nudging, and teasing in ways only she would understand. I mimicked her gestures, matched her laughter, and even caught a few surprised looks, some amused, some suspicious. The thrill surged again, a dangerous cocktail of fear and exhilaration. My reflection in the compact mirror I carried was my anchor. I studied the angles, the expressions, the tiny imperfections that might betray me. Back home, the lipstick seemed to hum faintly in my hand, as if aware of my panic and excitement. Each swipe across my lips reinforced the transformation, cementing the persona I was forced to navigate. I realized that the magic wasn't just in the appearance. It had seeped into instincts, reflexes, the subtle ways I carried myself. I was Veronica in body and manner, but my mind remained Alex, trapped in a borrowed life. The first evening brought the most frightening lesson. Identity wasn't just skin deep. Looking in the mirror, I noticed changes in my posture, my confidence, even my speech. The longer I stayed as Veronica, the more her habits bled into me. I caught myself laughing in ways I hadn't before, walking with a sway that felt natural yet was undeniably foreign. The lipstick was no longer just a cosmetic. It was a vessel, a conduit for transformation that went beyond appearance. Messages began arriving on my phone, texts from friends, classmates, and even Veronica herself. Each notification sent shivers down my spine. How much had she noticed? Could she sense the swap? One text stood out, "Something's different. Are you playing a prank, or am I imagining it?" Panic surged. I needed to be careful, meticulous, and clever. Each interaction required focus, strategy, and a careful balance between imitation and authenticity. The thrill of power, being seen, admired, envied, mingled with the suffocating fear of discovery. Evenings were the hardest. Alone in my room, I studied my reflection, practicing Veronica's expressions, gestures, and speech patterns. I felt the magic working in reverse too, subtly teaching me, molding me. Every misstep reminded me that the lipstick had a mind of its own, shaping me toward perfection, or something dangerously close. And in the shadows of the room, a small voice whispered, "This wasn't a game. This wasn't temporary." The magic had taken root. Every moment in Veronica's skin brought me closer to a point of no return. One more slip, one more interaction, and the spell might tighten its grip forever. The school auditorium buzzed with excitement, every student filing into seats for the end-of-year showcase. Normally, I would have stayed invisible, blending into the crowd unnoticed. But tonight, I was Veronica, her confidence, her poise, her magnetic presence fully alive in me. Every step I took down the hallway felt like walking a tightrope. One misstep, one hesitation, and my secret could unravel in front of hundreds. The lipstick on my lips tingled with energy, a constant reminder of the magic that had taken over my life. It wasn't just color, it was power, influence, and control wrapped into a seemingly innocent cosmetic. Each glance in the mirrors along the hall reinforced the persona, shaping me further into Veronica's twin. My reflection smiled back at me, perfectly composed, daring, teasing me with the thrill of danger. I reached the backstage area, where Veronica's friends were gathering, unaware that I had assumed her face and form. They greeted me warmly, yet something in their eyes flickered, an almost imperceptible hesitation, a moment of doubt. My heart raced. Every gesture, every word, every laugh had to match Veronica's flawlessly. I could feel the magic nudging me, correcting me, guiding me like an invisible mentor. Then came the announcement. Veronica was expected on stage to perform her solo piece. Panic surged. I wasn't Veronica. I wasn't supposed to perform. And yet, every instinct, every training embedded by the lipstick's magic, propelled me forward. I stepped onto the stage, feeling the lights burn down on me, the entire auditorium holding its collective breath. The music began. I moved with grace, every motion precise, every expression perfectly Veronica. Applause erupted, but a sharp pang of anxiety sliced through the thrill. From the side of the stage, I glimpsed someone familiar. Veronica herself, staring from behind a curtain, eyes wide with shock and disbelief. My heart pounded. She knew. She had to know. The lipstick's magic surged violently, a pulse of energy through my lips and fingertips, and my body obeyed its command, twisting and curving into movements I didn't consciously direct. I was performing a dance I had never learned, executing steps with perfection, drawing gasps and cheers from the audience. The backstage crew murmured, whispering to each other. One assistant leaned close and asked, "Is that Veronica? She looks different tonight." My pulse spiked. Every word, every sound, threatened exposure. I faltered slightly, just enough to feel my own panic rise, but the lipstick hummed with energy, steadying my hands, aligning my posture, forcing me back into perfection. The climax of the performance arrived, a daring spin, a flourish, a final pose. The applause was deafening, yet the danger wasn't over. Behind the curtain, Veronica stepped forward, anger and disbelief radiating off her in waves. "What have you done?" she hissed, voice trembling with fury. I froze. The magic surged once more, powerful and undeniable, binding me into a perfect imitation of her expression. Calm, teasing, confident. I smiled, the lips and eyes perfectly mirroring her own, and whispered, "I just wanted to see what it felt like, to be noticed." Veronica's eyes narrowed. The crowd's roar faded into background noise. Everything compressed into that single moment. The stage, the lights, the magic, the fear. She stepped closer, fingers brushing mine, and in that touch, I felt the magic resist, a subtle warning pulse that the spell wasn't entirely mine to control. I had one choice: reveal the secret, risk everything, or trust the magic and maintain the illusion. My heartbeat thundered. The world held its breath. The lipstick's magic thrummed across my lips, my fingertips, my every nerve, urging control, confidence, domination. And then it happened. The music swelled. My body responded with movements I didn't consciously direct, graceful, deliberate, undeniably captivating. Veronica's expression shifted from fury to disbelief, then curiosity. The audience erupted in applause once again, oblivious to the drama unfolding just behind the curtain. The moment was electric, exhilarating, terrifying. I realized the transformation wasn't just physical, it was mental, emotional, a reshaping of identity that blurred the lines between me and her. I was trapped, powerful, exposed, and utterly alive in ways I had never imagined. The final note played. I struck the final pose, chest heaving, eyes locked on Veronica. The magic hummed, alive, asserting control, cementing the persona. Veronica took a step back, uncertainty flickering across her face. She didn't know how to respond, how to reclaim what had been hers. And I, trapped yet exhilarated, understood the dangerous truth. Once the magic chose a path, there was no turning back. The auditorium had emptied, but the echoes of applause still lingered like a haunting melody. My reflection in the mirror backstage caught my eye. Veronica's face, my body, yet my mind teetering on the edge between exhilaration and terror. Every muscle still buzzed from the performance, every nerve screamed with the awareness that one wrong move could unravel everything. Veronica was gone from my side, disappearing into the shadowy corridors behind the stage, but her presence lingered in the atmosphere. A sharp, cold awareness that she was watching, thinking, scheming. The magic in the lipstick pulsed faintly against my lips, a reminder that I was not fully in control, that the transformation wasn't simply cosmetic. It was a force, alive, shaping me, testing me. My phone buzzed. A new text lit the screen. "You've gone too far. This isn't a game." The message was unsigned, but the handwriting and phrasing carried a familiar sting. My pulse quickened. Was it Veronica herself, or someone who had begun noticing the changes, the uncanny resemblance? The question alone sent shivers through me. I sank into a chair backstage, heels clicking softly on the floor. My fingers absent-mindedly traced the lipstick tube. It had been my tool, my weapon, my key to power, but now it felt like a cage. Every swipe I'd made, every glance I'd mirrored, every step I'd taken as her had edged me closer to losing myself entirely. The hallway outside shifted with movement. A shadow approached, deliberate and slow, and my stomach dropped. My reflection stiffened, eyes widening. The magic in the lipstick flared subtly, a warning pulse through my body, guiding me to compose, to smile, to maintain the illusion. But the thrill of the unknown and the fear of exposure collided violently in my chest. "Alex." The voice was low, unmistakable. I froze. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. The real Veronica stepped into view, her eyes narrowing, every feature rigid with anger and disbelief. The crowd, the applause, the thrill, all faded. The room condensed into the two of us, one image reflected, one original, the tension tangible in every breath. I opened my mouth, wanting to explain, to apologize, or to plead. But the words tangled in my throat. The lipstick hummed again, a subtle vibration that forced my lips into a poised smile, flawless and perfectly her. My hands clenched at my sides, tremors betraying the storm of emotions raging inside me. Veronica's gaze flickered between disbelief and fascination. "How?" she whispered, voice trembling yet laced with fury. "How is this possible?" Before I could respond, a sudden noise came from the auditorium doors. A security guard, alerted by whispers, pausing to investigate the strange situation backstage. The sudden intrusion set off an instant panic. My heart raced as I weighed my options: flee and risk drawing attention, stay and risk being unmasked, or rely entirely on the magic that pulsed at my lips. The lipstick vibrated, almost pleading, almost commanding. My reflection in the mirror smiled wider than I could manage naturally, a surreal split between Alex's fear and Veronica's poised confidence. I realized, in a cold, thrilling instant, that my next choice would define the rest of this ordeal. One wrong step and the spell might entangle me forever, exposing my secret, or worse, altering me beyond recognition. Veronica took a step closer, eyes locked onto mine. The room contracted further, every sound amplified, the soft hum of lights, the creak of floorboards, the low murmur from the guard outside. I could feel the magic testing me, teasing me, daring me to embrace the persona fully or crumble under pressure. My fingers trembled around the lipstick tube. Every instinct screamed to remove it, to regain control, to end this madness. But another instinct, a dangerous, intoxicating thrill, urged me to keep it on, to stay in her skin, to see just how far this transformation could take me. Then, in the narrow gap of the doorway, someone else appeared. A figure I hadn't expected, eyes wide, expression unreadable. The air thickened with tension. I realized that this night, this performance, this magic, had not just attracted Veronica's attention but had drawn others into the spiral as well. Secrets, lies, and identities were hanging by a fragile thread. And as the two of them stared at me, one enraged, one uncertain, I understood something terrifying. This wasn't a simple prank, a moment of revenge, or a temporary thrill. The lipstick had rewritten my reality, fused my body with someone else's image, and now forced me to navigate the chaos I had created. One false move could shatter everything. My reflection smiled from the mirror, lips glistening with the magic that had brought me here. My heart thumped. I took a tentative step forward, the floorboards creaking beneath me. Every second stretched, heavy with anticipation, as the world held its breath. And then, everything froze. Would Veronica reclaim her identity? Would I be exposed? Would the magic accept my defiance or tighten its grip forever? The answers hung in the air, unresolved, impossible to predict. The lipstick glimmered faintly, a silent promise of power, danger, and transformation. What would you do in Alex's shoes? Would you remove the lipstick or embrace the magic fully? Comment below with your predictions. Who will come out on top, and how will this spell end?